All right, we should be live. Are you there, Malauns?
Okay, well, happy Sunday, everybody. Today, we're going to be talking about how to keep peace of mind in the midst of chaos. Today, well, first of all, let me back up a second. We need to introduce ourselves, and I know you're like, who are these people? so, my name is, and we'll just go one by one. My name is Malaun Rice. I am a transformational speaker and life coach.
My name.
I Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Rose. Go ahead.
I'm Rose Madison Jenkins. I'm also a life coach and a holistic teacher. I like to speak on the power of the mind and the power of self-image.
And I am Eric McCoy. I am a motivational speaker as well, and I actually have an online presence in regards to psychological dilemmas.
All right. Well, now that everybody knows what our topic is, so Eric, how do you keep peace of mind in the midst of chaos? What do you do? I know what I do, but I want to hear what you do.
What I do in the midst of the chaos is identify the chaos. I want to actually know what it is, why is it chaos or chaotic, and what is it impacting or who is it impacting. I have a tendency to stay calm. I have a tendency to focus on the solution that's within the chaos or the solution within the problem. Once I can actually identify the problem, I most definitely can address or assign a solution to it. So that's what I do. I do some things to actually make sure that I take good care of self, whether or not that's walking, exercising, eating right, praying, meditating. I do things to take care of self, and I do things not to focus on the chaos, but to focus on the solution or the positive in order for the chaos not to be heavy or weigh me down. Does not mean I slight anyone and don't acknowledge when they're going through chaos. I
Right.
do acknowledge it and I do support them, but I most
Right.
definitely encourage them in other ways to focus on other things of positivity as opposed to focusing on chaos, which is a negative.
Yeah. And sometimes chaos, well, especially for me today, has came in forms of distractions, one after the other. And as a woman, sometimes I get emotional, and I
Mhm.
feel like that's okay, but I don't stay there. That's the
Yeah.
thing. I get emotional if I gotta cry, whatever I need to do. But like Eric, like what you said, I'm a solution based person. I'm like, okay, what am I going to do next? And I always, depend on God. I'm like, okay, what are you trying to tell me? What are you trying to show me? And it is annoying. It gets annoying, but we can't let it, stop you from, the things that you're trying to do. You just can't. So how do you deal with that, Rose?
Yeah, I knowing Eric, that's true what you said about you're calm because you'll be like, "Oh, I'm dealing with this and that," but you like say it so calmly. Where as for myself, I know at first, like Milan, I'm gonna be emotional. I'm gonna be a little frazzled. So for me, I have to first identify that there's chaos going on, whether it's in my own life or in the outside world, and then self-evaluate to ask myself,
Mm.
where am I at? How am I reacting to this? And how do I need to be reacting to this? Like, what do I need to get for myself? Where do I need to start going? Like Eric was saying, do I need to meditate? Do I need some healthy food? Do I need fresh air? Do I need time with family? Because I don't want to be reactive. I want to be proactive in that situation because chaos can definitely like drain your emotional, social, and all of those batteries so fast if you let it control you. So I like to just do my best to take control of the situation as
Hmm.
fast as I can, at least in the areas that I can control.
Right. And that's so key that you said control, because if it's something that's out of your control, then why even bother
Right.
giving
Right.
it any energy,
And it's
So
just kind
you,
of like, can I accept this or is it something I can just let slide past me for now?
yeah. And so those are all great things. So But we got one thing on top of the other. I know you didn't want to talk about it, but we won't talk about it long. But it is important
Yeah.
because it's affecting people in different ways. Is, you know, you already have chaos that comes to you anyway because we're humans and things are going to come to us on a regular day. But then we have this, and then we have this thing called a pandemic as well on top of that. And then, you know, we're still self-containing in the homes and things like that. So that affects your psyche. And so all of what we just said, and people may or may not do that because they are not in, I don't want to say they're not in their right mind, but typically, you know, what they do may not, what we said they may not do. So what have you guys been doing to, you know, to stay on top of that?
Well, I was in the military, so the Marines, I was Army, but Marines have a saying, adapt and overcome. So it's like, obviously, most of us, unless you're really old, have never lived through a pandemic before. So it was
Right.
new, it was strange, and it was so much to have to adjust to all at one time. But the power was in just that, figuring out what can I fix right now and what can I do to make this temporary normal feel normal for myself, instead of just like being the person that went and raided Walmart for all of the toilet paper and going like feeding into the chaos,
Yeah.
instead of stepping back and really evaluating and asking yourself, like, how can I handle this? So for
Yeah.
me, it was like, yeah, this is crazy and weird, and I've never worked from my house before, but like I can make it work and I can figure it out. And how can I do that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. And so for me, it was a little bit different because I've been working from home for 3.5 years. So I was like, it's not affecting me, but it did. You know, spending way more time by yourself than you usually do. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I really did. You know, I get up at least twice a week thinking it's another day or maybe even another month because I have dated two things. We're in August. I've dated two things September. this this week I have dated two things September. They're like, no,
Not
it's still
yet.
August. Right. And so it's, you know, the difference is I'm aware. You know, I'm aware. I'm like, okay, let me go for a drive. You know, let
Mm-hmm.
me, you know, by living in the desert, it's beautiful scenery, beautiful mountains, beautiful everything. And I'm just like, let me just go for a drive and just shift my mindset and shift where you are, you know. And the thing about it, a lot of people don't know how to do that. They don't know how to maybe shift their mindset. So, Eric, what do you suggest for people to do to shift their mindset?
And that is key, shifting your mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So I started shifting my mindset when I was a kid. I started doing 3D puzzles. So doing puzzles, and I've done one recently, which I had been away from for over 25 years. Doing puzzles is not only a stress reliever, it also shifts your mind. It causes you to think and figure out how does this actually go together. So nothing really has changed for me. I'm a loner by nature. I don't hang out with a lot of people. Most time I see people really is at work unless there's a family gathering.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot hasn't changed for me. I work from home and I work in the office. I work in a crisis unit. So I'm actually in contact with those who are homeless and some individuals who actually have contracted COVID and had to be sent to the hospital, and those who actually had to be quarantined on our unit. So I understand it. I see it. I'm not frazzled by it. I'm more taken back by those in authority or the higher ups who was aware in 2019
Mm-hmm.
that this was on board and coming our way and did not share that information. So that
Right.
frustrates me more than it being here, because preparation is better than an ounce of cure. So
Mm-hmm.
if we can actually always prepare for what's coming based upon awareness, based upon
Mm-hmm.
knowledge, we
Mm-hmm.
can avoid it. We can deal with it a whole lot better than being blindsided.
Right.
So
Yes.
yeah. So
But it's
shifting
gonna
your
be
mindset
times.
is important. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people are being blindsided, and even those who believe that it's a hoax. And some of them who actually have believed it was a hoax are no longer on the planet. But there are others who are still walking around stating that this is a hoax, this is a hoax. Case
And
in
making
point, had
decisions in a way like it only affects them when
correct,
when it affects everybody.
correct.
Right.
We had a guy on the unit, a 71-year-old man, who we actually cannot take back again because he refuses to wear his mask, and we cannot allow him to actually be on the unit, putting other people at risk.
Yeah.
Right.
You're right. So why don't you guys, and whoever wants to go first can go first, tell everybody about a time within the last couple months where it was chaotic and what you did to overcome that.
Okay, so for myself, I'm a case manager. I work with teens who have had some involvement in the criminal justice system, and um, the transition of work to home was really rocky, and ours was a little late. So it was like this weird space of like, our kids need us. They need us out in the field, checking on them and bringing them things. And these are low income kids, so the parents might not have the funds to get emergency supplies or even have transportation to get to the store. So they needed us and our resources in that aspect. But then at the same time, it was like there is a risk. So how much of ourself are we going to be risking going out and doing that? And then eventually our company and the state did have us stay home. And then it was finding ways of like, how can I still support these kids and really be of value to them from my own home, like from a distance when most of our relationship is so in-person based. And I found that communication was key and checking in on them as much as possible, sending them resources that were in their area and even some resources that would come to them, and just making sure when something new came up that could help them, even in a small way, like making sure they were signed up for the school lunch drop offs and things like that, that they knew, so that they had that for one, and that they also knew that me and them still had this relationship that they can rely on, even if we're cities apart, and just knowing that they were safe in their own home and that they had as little excuse or reason to go out if they didn't need to in those first few months of the pandemic. And now that I am getting to see them in person, it's like I preserved that relationship and made sure now when we're together, it's just like it was before, because they knew in that time of crisis that I was there for them and that they could turn to me for what they needed.
Okay. All right. So, Eric, what about you?
So mine was, I bought a dog roughly 75 days ago. Pretty good sized puppy, but it's a German Shepherd.
Oh.
And I was actually bringing a package back in the house. And I have a fence in front of my front door on the inside of the house. But he's never been out of the house. No, should I say never out of the front door.
Right.
So I pulled the gate, but I didn't pull it all the way. I go out, I grab the package, I pick the package up, I turn around and come back in, and he slides out the door underneath of me. Put the package down, I turn around, there's two girls going down the street, and he actually charges at them. One jumps the fence, the other one backs up against the car and starts screaming, and he's barking and barking and barking. I get him back. For whatever reason, the girl started to stand there waiting for me to take the dog in the house or make sure everything was clear. She came around the back side of the car, and he pulled and got away and charged at her again, and she waved her hand in front of him and nicked his tooth. So the chaotic piece was, even though she said, I'm not calling police or anybody, I just want to make sure that you have insurance, I'm going to the hospital. Fine. I get a knock on the door. As the time I get a knock on the door, it's her on the phone saying that animal control come out yet. I'm like, wow, okay. So it's animal control, and they say we need to take a picture of the dog, and we need to get your story based upon her story. And the main thing was they wanted to know if the dog had rabies. And I could not verify it because I just bought the dog from a trainer, but the dog was unwilling to actually release any papers to me. Said, well, we in different states. Just when you get and a chance to take him to the vet in your state, do that. And so he had to be in house. Other than go out to the bathroom, he had to stay in the house for 10 days to make sure he didn't have rabies. Thank God he didn't have rabies. So she didn't have rabies. The nick wasn't severe. I was in a frenzy internally. I was in a frenzy just
I can see it.
praying that this girl would not have rabies and that my dog would not actually get flagged, because the animal control told me he could actually get flagged endangered, he could get flagged to be euthanized, he could get flagged in a number of ways. It doesn't make a difference how the incident occurred, just the fact that it occurred to a person, he could get flagged. So thank God he didn't get flagged, she didn't get rabies, she did get the nick, she got that healed, insurance company covered it. So on that end, all was well. But yeah, I was praying, I was wondering, I was worried. I was like, because I had a boxer that died in December. And the only thing I could think of, I got another dog I'm gonna have to put down or get rid of. So that was my chaos at the moment.
I understand. That's I can understand. Yeah. For me, it has actually been health wise, actually. So I've been open about my health issues. So I did a whole video last weekend about me having fibroids and all the health issues that I have, but I never say about all the chaos in between. So between January and now, I've had like, I don't know, 10, 11, 12 doctor's appointments, between a hematologist, between my gynecologist, and between my regular internal medicine doctor. And having a fibroids makes me have iron deficiency anemia, which means I don't think fast, because I don't have enough oxygen going to my brain. So I don't think fast. I'm tired all the time. And a host of other things. So they give you something called iron infusions, which means it's pure iron. They shoot right into your bloodstream to get your iron levels back up. And it didn't work. So I'm just like, so they're telling me, you might have to be hospitalized, all this other stuff. But I'm looking at them like, I don't do hospitals. So I've never been in a hospital a day in my life. So except when I was born. So I was like, you got to figure it out. So with all the doctors and me trying to figure out how to feel better and running, getting a company, a business up and running. My job that I have right now is sales based. So I have to keep my numbers and keeping up with everything I had. I don't like to feel overwhelmed. So when I feel overwhelmed, I just want to shut it down, so even before we started this, I was overwhelmed. That's why I asked you to pray, because I was like, I'm about to turn all of this off and I just can't do it. Right.
Well, thanks for staying.
Yeah, thanks for staying, for sure.
Yes. So, I mean, and it was out of it, I'm a person of integrity, and I said I was going to do this and I needed to, and so, so basically, this is doing something that I love. So this is giving me a peace of mind right now. When we're done, I'm going to have a glass of wine. That gives me a peace of mind. It gives me a peace of mind and sometimes keeps me out of jail.
That's your treat. You did what you had to do, so that's your treat. Go ahead, treat yourself.
So, so what I suggest people do is a combination of everything that we have said, as far as what we, have done, and find something that works for you. Maybe wine doesn't work for you, works very well for me. And maybe meditating definitely works, because it shuts down all the chaos outside. You just focusing on what's in front of you, in yourself, and then identifying, like, what you guys said, identifying if it's chaos or not. If it's something that's out of your control, then there's no reason for you to even think about it. You're just
wasting energy. You're just wasting energy worrying about something you have no power over.
Yeah. And another thing too is maybe all of them are things that you need to address, but you only do one thing at a time. So address what can be done right now. So whatever can be fixed right now, that's what you do. And then just take things one at a time, because we're not, even though I love Wonder Woman, I'm not her.
I find I procrastinate sometimes. I get in the pattern of procrastinating, and I find if I just push myself to do one thing, like to just get started and do that one small thing, everything else just kind of falls into place and it's easier to keep going. It's the starting that's the hardest, but once I get going, it's not, you know,
Yeah.
much easier and so much less stressful. Procrastinating is, it's like you do it because you think the thing is going to be stressful, but then the procrastinating ends up being the stress in the
Yeah,
long
but procrastination is also a form of fear as well.
Yeah, for sure.
So, and it's and because we're aware of it, we gotta push past it. Because I procrastinate too. I still haven't written my webinar slides. Haven't did it.
And that date's coming up on you.
Yeah, the 16th of September, sure is. And I'll do it some point today, but I need to get my mind back together. You know, you have to kind of go, okay, now I can do it.
Stepping right.
Yeah. So you guys got any last words you want to say to everybody, since we got everybody's attention out there on this wonderful Sunday? And thank you for watching, everybody.
Yeah. Just take care of yourself. Let be in control. Don't let situations control you.
Right. And identify what the chaos is or what's adding to the chaos. Personally, I don't watch the news, and if I do, I'm peeping in for a minute and I'm getting off.
Right.
So identify what the chaos is or what actually enhances the chaos, and do something else that actually makes you more happy. You are the author and the finisher of your life, so actually identify how you want it to be, and continue to ride the train till the wheels fall off. But be happy in the process.
Beautifully put.
And I just wanted to add, well, everything that they said, so ditto to what they said, but you know, take 5 deep breaths in, really deep breaths, and you know, that helps, you know, because it kind of, you know, controls your mind. Be like, okay, let me calm down. It tells all your sensories, let me calm down, so you can think, you know, how to get your way out of those things, or think, okay, this is not really important, you know, because if you're all in a frenzy, you can't think about anything. So that's what I have for you guys on this wonderful Sunday.
Yeah,
so
enjoy your day.
Yeah, so thank everybody for tuning in, and you guys have a wonderful Sunday. Thank you for listening to us.
You
Bye,
too.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye.